All right, guys, we're starting up the podcast right about now. Possibly, potentially, maybe, perhaps. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's the hibbity
Not
happens to crack
much.
clackums?
We're I was just discussing. I guess right now would probably be a good time for me to mention that I have been officially told I'm moving.
Okay.
So for the podcast, just for like the podcast people out there, there might be like an off week,
Mhm.
kind of depending on what's going on with my move and when I get a move and when I can get internet hooked up and la di da di da di da.
Mhm.
So just for people out there, I am moving. There might be a week in the next month or so that we would have like an off week.
Yeah.
Just a little thing. But hello, everyone. Welcome to Next to Nothing, the show where we talk about how to waste your time and not your money in gaming. I am your host, Danny K. With me, as always, my lovely, beautiful, dependable, loyal co-host.
Okay. All right, you're throwing out a lot of things that aren't true. Hi, I'm Ren. I'm bad at games. What's up? What's going on, guys?
It's a really glowing
How you guys
review,
doing?
though.
He's Ren is just the best at answering messages.
Yeah, I'll put that on my resume. Definitely true.
And with us, our special guest this week, Stupid_you. How's it
Hi,
going, Stupid?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks
I've
for
been
being
giggling
here.
at my own picture for a good minute or two now.
I
It's pretty good.
find I stare at myself during the podcast often.
Mhm.
Like if you guys ever see me just kind of like this, it's because I'm
Yeah.
staring at myself on the screen, not even on Discord. I am watching myself on the stream.
Oh man.
So Stupid, for those who don't know you, where can people find you and what are they going to find that when they get there?
Right. So I typically just stream on Twitch. Username STOOPID_U. It's terrible, I know. And I'm pretty much at the moment I'm just playing a game that is dead until Halo comes out. That's about it.
Oh,
So
man.
just real quick, because I feel like I don't know if I've ever told you this story, Stupid. Now, the game
Okay.
that you mentioned that you're playing that is dead is,
Oh, boy.
of course, Dirty Bomb that we've talked about. When I first started streaming over a year ago, I was playing Dirty Bomb as well, almost primarily on my stream. And I met a friend of the show, Mama Mouthy, because when I was finishing up a raid, or when I was finishing up a stream, I was going to raid you, and I didn't just copy and paste your name for whatever reason. I tried to type out your name, and I fucked up twice in a row, and I said, fuck it. I'm going to raid this chick. And you raided Mama Mouthy.
Damn it. I missed out on a raid.
You missed out on the raid
man.
really early on.
That username,
yeah.
I know, man. It's the worst. It even got wrecked by like some shitty rap song. I hate it so much now.
Oh man.
So yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. Go check out his stuff. If you are listening to the podcast or watching the VOD on YouTube, the link will be down below in the description of the podcast. So yeah,
Aw.
welcome. How have you guys been?
I'm doing great, dude. I actually got a new beanie. I got a fucking new beanie, and it looks so good. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that one out there.
It's
I'm
pretty
turning into a
rad.
beanie
Ooh.
collector.
Didn't
Just-
expect the red in the back. I like it.
I
It's
know,
looking
it's
good.
so cool. Oh my god. But yeah, that's been me recently. How you guys doing?
Does it?
you know.
It's good. Does it come with a hacky sack too?
Dude, I wish.
Hacky sack and a couple bongs. Be great.
Dude.
I guess you only need the one.
No comments. Oh man.
I mean, you are up in Northern California, so
Mhm.
not.
Yeah.
We can all
I
make
don't-
our assumptions
Oh
off
yeah,
of that.
it's legal up. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
and we're definitely not in the woods growing all the things. Of course not. That'd be ridiculous. That'd be absolutely insane.
That would be that would be such a wild fantasy. So there's not a whole hell of a lot to talk about this week. There's a couple things,
Which is a fantastic start, by the way.
which is a fantastic start. But stay with us. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial. But I played Northbound.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have seen this at all.
No.
I'm just gonna like get right into this.
Do it.
So
Sounds good.
I was perusing itch.io, which for anyone who hasn't heard us talk about that, it's a kind of like a game dev site where you can get some game dev tools. You can sample other devs' projects and get like free games and other cheap games and leave feedback for It's a very much an indie DIY kind of store.
It's like a
I
storefront, basically.
Yeah, well, we've picked up a couple of things off of it. I picked up the Law Dispute interactive album experience a couple weeks ago. We talked about that, and I picked that off of itch.io. There's been a couple others. September 1999 was one I got off of itch.io. Ren, I think you've gotten some stuff off of there.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple off of there. I honestly can't remember the names of them right off the bat, but I've gotten, I think, like 3 different games off of it. They've been okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this Northbound, let me get my notes real quick for it. This was a student thesis project that I guess now the 2 students that developed it are now furthering the project, coming up with some more stuff. I think you can go to their blog and stuff and see more for it. This is about an hour-long experience, not really a game at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
walking sim kind of thing.
Not even necessarily a walking sim. It's a road trip sim. Which, what the hell is the difference? Not a lot.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I don't know.
Wheels instead of your legs.
Yeah. So the premise is that you take the place of post college young man who hits up his old high school friends to go on a road trip to a lake that you guys went to as kids. So the whole thing is about the interactions between you and your old high school friends and one of your high school friends' girlfriends. It very much hits on Stupid. Are you still in university?
Ooh, no.
No. Ren, you recently finished, right?
Yeah.
You're same boat as me. You guys know that feeling towards the end of high school or college where it's like, my friends are gone, I'm bored, I'm lost, I don't know what I want to do or what I'm going to do. Why do I suddenly have all this free time? Like that weird period in your life that for some people only lasts for like a month and for others lasts for like 5 years. This game hits on that weird feeling, that weird nostalgia. In melancholy, like nostalgia and melancholy are like the 2 things this game really wants to hit you in the feels with, and not necessarily the good kind of nostalgia.
Ooh.
Right? The rose-colored the rose-colored glasses that a lot of that is marketed to people, kind of like the icky feeling nostalgia that things were great and it's not going to be like that ever again. Not that things are great and I can experience them again, like we're marketed.
Sounds depressing as hell.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a depressing like little experience that there's something kind of cathartic about it as you're kind of going through it. But it also, like, my big problem with it also has like these pseudo intellectual, philosophical, deep moments that don't really
that indies love.
Yeah, that doesn't really strike me like well. It very much is not. I'm trying to think of like the way to describe it. It's the kind of deep thought that you feel is a little pretentious and comes from people who feel like they've felt more than what they actually have.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah, you like the people who wax poetically about their anxieties and their depression. Their depression. Not to say that people don't experience those things at all, but it's more of like the people who wax poetically about it for attention is, I guess, where I'm kind of going with that. It feels not as genuine as it could be. I don't know necessarily why that is. I don't know if it was the names. The names very much are not American. This seems like it was definitely translated. So I don't know if that's something that was just lost in translation, or if there's a genuine, because it's all communication is done through text in this game. It's done in a 3D environment in a first-person perspective, but everything is done through text. There's no voice acting in this game, and so I almost wonder if that was the problem with it. Like, there's just something lost when you're not hearing a voice say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had kind of a hard time with this because there's kind of like that pretentious feeling to it. I'm putting more deep thought into this kind of attitude that I'm getting from it. And then there's also just like not a lot of interaction. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of control in this, which, I mean, for an hour-long experience is expected.
Right.
Very much like, we are going to tell you or give you this experience, and you're gonna sit in this experience, which is perfectly fine. It just leaves me wondering, how are they going to expand it out if they're gonna make this longer, or they're gonna work on this again? What warrants this particular piece being expanded upon? What are you going to do to expand it? Are you going to add more avenues and road? Oh, well, it's very much like you just sit in the car and someone else actually drives the entire time. There's like a moment where you drive, but there's nothing, but you're just like going across the road. I actually was just doing like swerving all over the road when I found out like at this moment I could drive. I'm just like, cool, I'm just gonna go everywhere on the road. Fuck the road laws. And there's like no other cars like to watch out for or anything like that in like that section. It was just very empty.
Yeah.
Like there was rear brake lights in front of you, but you never got closer to them. You never got further away from them. You never passed them.
I don't see how you could expand on that.
Yeah,
it sounds like it's a done tale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, the only way I could see you could expand on anything like this is just to let the person that's experiencing this to wallow in like the feelings of melancholy and nostalgia longer. Which I'm like, an hour for that is good. You know, maybe 2 hours. Maybe 2 hours, you know, kind of like a sappy movie.
Yeah.
But like an hour to wallow in icky feeling nostalgia and melancholy is about all I need.
Yeah.
Now, I'm an emo motherfucker, and I will go, and right after this, I'll go listen to some modern baseball. You know. Someone just asked in chat, does this have a soundtrack? And yes, it has a soundtrack. There's like some radio stuff you can listen to the radio, but it's very much college rock kind of stuff. Stuff that I would have put on my university radio station when I was the general manager of it. So
this like, it sounds like a poorly executed thing that a lot of different games do very well. Like there's a million like that do it so well. One I can think of off the top of my head, when I lie and I actually had to go find my review for it to remember the name, is it's The First Tree. That game did, I'm pretty sure, exactly that, way better than this sounds like it did.
Yeah, and I wonder if this is because it's a student game, that this was like a student thesis.
Was it like, what did it? I don't know if it gave this information. Was this like their first project they did type deal, or first release project?
I would imagine this would be their first release project. Let me look it up real quick. Itch.io. I always want to say Homebound for some reason. It's Northbound. Yeah, narrative atmospheric game set on a road trip. Let's see. Is there any?
Basically, at the end of the day,
Yeah,
probably a safe bet to say it's the first thing they did.
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, first legitimate project outside of animating some things and putting input controls. I'm assuming this is probably one of the first things that they've put out for release.
Was it like highly reviewed at all, or was this just some random thing?
Just some random thing that I found. It's I was going through itch.io, which is always kind of an adventure in itself. You can find some interesting little experiences in it.
So much garbage and then like a couple diamonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean, as long as you're not paying for straight up garbage, you know, I'm very much of the philosophy of with itch.io, if you like something, then throw $1 or $2 at it at the end of it. But don't throw money at something before you download it on itch.io, unless it's an actual thing that you know about already.
I feel like
it's a developer tool or something.
Most of the things that I have a online platform that has a bunch of shit. It's a subreddit, sorry, that does giveaway stuff and all that jazz. Half of it ends up being itch.io, and 90% of it is complete garbage and asset flip shit. But there's always like a couple things that kind of look interesting enough, but I'll probably never even try the platform.
I always consider it like the solid land of meh. Like it's always like it's always either like horrible or okay. Like it's never like this is phenomenal, right? This is like a game I would easily pay money for. It's never like that. It's always just like this is all right, I guess.
You've not found not one thing?
Not for me personally. I've played a few games on it, and I've never been like, man, this right here, this is worth like a solid amount of my money. It's always just like, this is a cool experience, I guess. I don't know. I've tried probably like 3 or 4 different games on it, and they were like some of the higher rated games because I just wanted to like see what it had to offer, and none of them were really particularly amazing. It was just like, yeah, this is okay. I don't know. That's how I experience like itch. Personally,
I wonder how much longer it's going to be able to stay afloat, because a similar platform, I think it was called Desura, maybe. I think it just died like maybe last year, but it was like the exact same concept and tool set for it, and it didn't last very long.
I think itch will stay up longer. Itch very much reminds me of Bandcamp. That as long as there are people willing to throw things up on there, it'll probably survive because they can take a minimal amount of money from those projects, just to keep servers afloat. This isn't a service that is trying to create all sorts of friends lists and stuff like that. It's really it's Bandcamp for video games.
Crazy bare bones from what I
exactly. It's just it's a place that people can throw stuff up, so they don't have to buy a website domain, and then have to set up a Stripe or a PayPal or something like that. Everything is just kind of there.
I think the main issue that killed. Sorry to deviate back to Desura.
No, by all means.
I think the same thing that killed that is also happening on itch.io, because I think the biggest deal that shut it down was people basically just putting out copyrighted material, recreating Mario and Sonic, and then making a game and putting it on itch.io or whatever, and then getting banned within minutes. The amount of shitty Pokemon ROMs that I've seen posted, just no way it can be sustainable with all that infringement.
Yeah, this game, pay $2 for my Pokemon ROM hack. I increased the difficulty of Pokemon Crystal by a factor of 10 and allowed you to choose any starter or choose any Pokemon you want.
Every Pokemon's now a Tyranitar.
It's slightly changed in color. There's different genders now. There you go.
Oh, man.
No changes.
You have 72 genders for your Pokemon.
Wait, for the Pokemon or for
for the Pokemon.
Okay.
The Pokemon can identify as any 72 genders at once, and they can all mate freely.
Oh my god.
I think that'd be the thing that shuts it down quicker for Nintendo.
True. Nintendo is
they're getting better.
They're getting better, but they've struggled in the past. That's Northbound. If I had to sum it up, it's it's a game that feels like somebody watched too much Garden State and listened to too much Iron and Wine and Tiger's Jaw, uh,
Oh
and wants
man.
to wax poetically about feeling lost in the world. That's what it is. If you want that, if you want to dwell within that kind of emotion for an hour, sure, pick it up. I didn't enjoy it enough to want to throw any money at these guys.
Yeah. Because I'm looking
I'll
at it
check
right
in on the
now, and I found their
development later.
Twitter. Yeah, I found their Twitter, and I found like their website, and it looks okay. That's probably like the best I'm gonna give it. It looks all right. It doesn't
How are
look
they,
like
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
like in its own artistic like area. You know what I mean? It's kind of actually. It looks a lot like other games that Danny has played. I can't remember the last game, but we talked about it the other day. It was a walking sim. Well, maybe not the other day, but it was
you gotta
the.
type. I'm learning.
It was the walking sim that was based from an album, I believe.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, that was
God.
the Law Dispute,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
panorama.
yeah. It kind of sort of reminds me of that. I don't know. It's very own artistic like design. It's nothing like totally crazy. There's really not a lot going on from the looks of it, but it definitely has its own like look. So I give it
Yeah,
that,
it's
but at the same time, I'm also just like,
yeah, that minimalistic
yeah,
polygonal style
yeah.
where you can tell where everything is. It looks like it was done in Unity.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely Unity. I
Yeah,
wonder
you
how.
can tell by the lighting for sure.
I wonder how sustainable it is to make games like that because they're so easy to make, but I can't imagine many people. I say easy. I shouldn't say that easy. I
Mhm.
can't imagine many people fuck with them. Like,
Right.
there's no way that all of these games can be played when they're so easy. I said easy
Yeah.
again. They're quickly made in the same type of style.
They're
Just seems
very
like they would all get lost.
efficient.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there we
Extremely
go.
efficient.
They
The
come
nice way.
together. They come together well because they're almost pre-made in many ways. And so at that point, what you're really relying on if you're making a game like this,
Yeah, it's
you're
how the story's
relying
gonna be.
on
Your
You're
ability
relying
to
on
tell.
relying
everything
on the
else.
story. Yeah, you're relying on your story and maybe some sort of different aesthetics.
Mhm.
And for like a lot of these games, you have to hit like the right emotion that someone's gonna want to dwell in for a bit.
Mhm.
That sense of melancholy and negative nostalgia, people don't want to sit in that for very long.
Right.
Oh yeah, the time that you give to a lot of those is almost. I think it's almost always under 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Anything like
Which,
that.
I know some people who do, some people who dwell in that kind of that emotion, that melancholy for very
Mhm.
long periods of time. But those are also people who I am very close to and have a lot of deep concerns for because I know why they feel they want to dwell within those emotions.
Right.
This so yeah, this kind of thing, I can't imagine too many people wanting to dwell much longer on it. I
Mhm.
imagine if these guys want to continue with this project in particular, it's probably just going to be maybe a little bit longer, some more text options or some more options in terms of the dialogue,
Some more game.
some more
Yeah.
game, yeah. And maybe some update in the graphics, maybe actually adding details and faces and making people look real instead of polygonal.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's an art style that they can
Yeah.
yeah, it's an art style.
blame.
Mhm. Some, maybe real animations and stuff. So that's Northbound. Check it out if you want. It's free. If you like it, throw $1 or $2 at the guys that made it. And
Mhm.
yeah.
What do they classify them typically as? Pay what you want or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is why I liken this so much, itch.io to Bandcamp so much,
Mhm.
because almost every other indie album that you see on Bandcamp has a pay what you want. And whenever I find something I like from Bandcamp, I almost inevitably throw a couple dollars in the way of the artist. I give it a listen first. If it's not on Spotify, I download it for free, and then I throw
Mhm.
$1 or $2.
I feel like it's a good system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to like get your very first product out there and just like let some eyes see it. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, thinking of it that way, I'm not really expected too much from the game in the first place, but I mean, I don't know. It's a great little
Yeah.
starter system for sure. just to be like, hey, what do you think of my game? And it's like, it's okay. It's like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, hope, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. I hope these guys take the criticisms, I guess, with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. If they listen to this,
yeah.
And if you guys listen to this, reach out, say hello.
I felt like you did a very good job of it. Very professional.
Yeah, I try not to be vicious, especially on things like this. But you know what we can be vicious about, guys?
Oh boy.
Or you know who we can be vicious to?
Oh.
I'm intrigued. I'm interested. Go on.
Internet service providers that want to charge an extra $15 for an elite gaming package.
Oh, I thought this was the other thing.
I didn't know. I was thinking like every single one of these things could be it. I have no idea. I'm angry. Oh man.
So
so fast passes are finally out. That's the thing.
Great.
Yeah. That's essentially where that's at.
Cool.
Dystopian future, the dystopian future that FCC chairman Ajit Pai has ushered in is finally coming true.
The worst.
Oh man.
Have I told you guys when I went to the radio show a couple years ago and listened to Ajit Pai talk, I have never rolled my eyes harder at a public official. Within his same speech, you guys, anyone who wants to see how two-faced Ajit Pai is, can watch his keynote address from the Austin National Association of Broadcasters radio show and hear him in the same speech talk about loosening restrictions and regulations on the radio industry while simultaneously cracking down on pirate radio stations.
Jesus.
Like, so in one hand, you're going to be loosening restrictions and regulations on the industry while also cracking down on the industry.
It takes such an ability to be able to say something that is just such a flat out lie and not like
and hold your ground. That's the key thing. It's like you really got to stick with it.
Perfect.
And of course, all the CEOs of Intercom and Cox Media, who, by the way, owns radio stations, Intercom, iHeart, everyone, all the executives of all these radio companies.
This guy's got a good idea. Listen to this guy, he knows.
Oh, man.
Okay. So,
and if it's not obvious, we're all streamers. So I feel like that's probably like a big area of where all this anger is coming from.
And just anybody on the internet, anything. It's so it's the worst thing, and I can't believe that it all happened.
Yeah. So we can backtrack real quick. So for anyone who's just looking into, maybe I try to cater to some high schoolers here, but this is mostly for people who need to understand the internet. There was a guiding principle for many years that the Obama administration enshrined called net neutrality. The basic idea being that internet service providers cannot restrict or give priority to certain data flows based on commercial interests. Mm-hmm. So one of the big examples that was always there was Verizon being one of the largest wireless service providers, as well as one of the largest internet service providers in the country, restricting the flow of information from Netflix because Verizon owns Redbox.
Yeah, that was like a huge point of it.
Yeah. Now, to place my flag where I stand, in terms of I'm not a wholehearted, net neutrality person. My whole position was that internet service providers should not be allowed to prohibit data from or slowing down data, but they can incentivize people to use other services by, say, increasing speeds or by eliminating data count. One example of that would be AT&T allowing you to stream DirecTV data free, meaning that whenever you stream DirecTV to a cellular device or from your home, it wouldn't count towards your data cap.
Which is a big thing. That's pretty big.
That was pretty much the only good kind of way to fight that. Because the other ways were limiting and taking back from other places.
Now net neutrality, the whole like the hardline net neutrality position is that you can't allow either. That's the hardline net neutrality position, is that no prioritizing and no prohibiting. Everything has to be treated equal. Everything has to be treated the same.
Which most people were for.
Yeah.
Which is what most people are for. My position is no prohibiting. And if you want to fast track something or count something that's not against not against a data cap, that's fine. But the minute you start trying to prohibit or slow down data flow from other companies, that's when you're in the wrong. So that's my stake.
It's fair.
So after the Obama era regulation, or after the Obama administration, the Trump administration brought in a former Verizon lawyer named Ajit Pai. Ajit Pai had already been on the FCC's board or involved in the FCC before, and under the Trump administration was put up to be the chairman of the FCC, which is the Federal Communications Commission, who oversees all of the communication industries, telecom industries in the United States. Stupid, you're Canadian, so we can talk about some like the differences here, but that's kind of the long, short, very abridged thing of what happened. Ajit Pai later in 2018, Ryan?
For what specifically?
For when?
When he ended
Obama.
2018.
Was it only 2018? I thought it was a further back.
Maybe it was 2017. So it was at that point in time that he rolled back Obama era regulations on net neutrality. And it took a little while for anyone to really make a move. Now it seems that Cox Media, Cox, I guess maybe not necessarily media, Cox, which is the fourth largest internet provider in the country, seems to be making one of the first moves, at least very publicly, towards gamers. And so what they're offering is for an extra $15 a month, you get a you get a prioritized gaming packet service that sends gaming packets faster through an optimized path than say what Netflix packet or regular video streaming packets would do. Right now it's just like in a trial phase, and that's kind of the big thing. We've talked a couple times on the show about game streaming, Google Stadia being announced.
Very fascinated with that, by the way.
Yeah. So this is very convenient.
Yeah. That's the way I see it personally, to be completely honest. It's like, let's announce all the streaming platforms. Let's make streaming easier for $15 more a month.
Somebody, by the way, fact checked, and it was in fact 2018.
Oh, awesome. Fact check 2018. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Green.
Yeah, I want to say it was in the fall of 2018, but I'm not, or in the summer of 2018. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this particular situation. Now let's get some hot takes.
Okay.
So who wants to start?
I'll let you guys. I'll stay as far back as I can, considering where. For what it's worth, I don't know as much about it in Canada in general, but the first thing I found is a huge forum about saving our own net neutrality at the moment. So that'll be fun to go through after.
Yeah. So
go on ahead, Red.
I was gonna say I'm in the boat where I actually am for like net neutrality as a whole. I don't believe that there should be an incentivization as well as like punishments per se. So in my eyes, this is still the way I see it is it's a punishment to anybody else who's not using it. Like that's the way I see it, because realistically, that kind of service is great for anybody. Like having a fast pass to just like have better latency issues can be huge for all sorts of things, not necessarily just gaming. It's particularly large on gaming, but when it comes to like streaming videos or things like that, and for $15 a month, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's $15 a month. I'm not gonna pay $15 a month just to like get like an internet pass that I should probably already have in the first place. That's
Yeah,
the
I
way
think
I see it.
that's the bigger issue in it. It's that you're already you
Yeah.
should be getting what you're paying for regardless. And the
Exactly.
fact that they're making a system to actually get you it for real this time
Yeah. Yeah.
is a terrible thing. I'm also on the side of everything being neutral. Even
Yeah.
if there are benefits to fast lane type things,
Mhm.
I can see where people can go for why they would want it. But
Yeah.
I feel like neutrality is the only actual way you can go for it.
I completely agree. That's the boat I'm in personally. I don't know.
Kind of
I'm
just
really
leads to
not
different
into it.
leads to different slopes, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna cause a lot more issues down the road. I mean, like at that point, like a bunch of people are gonna have fast passes, and then really, what's the point? Fast passes aren't gonna do a whole lot.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna be like,
Then
what
then
about
there's
another
one
fast
shitty one.
pass? Yeah,
And
what
it's-
about
yeah.
a second one? Fuck it. Like, why not?
It would
And
just
that's
never end.
yeah. I mean, realistically, it would end when somebody gets really fucking salty and starts like throwing out lawsuits. But I mean, there's always that little time in between where it's just like we can make a lot of money here. That's the way I see it. I don't know. That's my boat. That's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, I'm so like my whole thing is necessarily there's I would really like to not see like faster necessarily internet as much as I would like to see ISPs just look at their existing services and not count those services against data caps.
That's just data caps in general being a shitty practice.
Yeah,
but
I completely
they're sunk
agree.
in.
Yeah.
Which I'd rather not see those either. And I'm kind of and like I'm just in like this weird conflicted state about this story because I on one hand I don't want government intervention, and I don't think in this current administration with this current FCC chairman we're gonna see any intervention in this. We already know
More so the
Ajit
opposite.
Pai's alliances. Now, like I said, me being kind of my libertarian, laissez-faire kind of self, I don't want to see a bunch of regulations come down on this, but I also don't want to see shitty services like this. That will supposedly reduce lag by 34% for an extra $15 a month.
Yeah, they can make up any nonsense they want with that shit too.
Yeah. And it's not like that necessarily, like that number is so arbitrary. That number realistically means nothing. I could like pay $15 a month for that service, but because of where I live, it could be like instead of 30 something, it could be like 2. And it's like,
more like
okay,
a
great.
trick.
Exactly. That's all it seems like. And it just seems like another way where other people can be like, hey, look at that. That's working for them. They're making money. Let's do it. And that just turns into this entire like shitty process that's now in place.
Yeah, until
that's
Comcast comes in and does it, or Time Warner comes in and does it.
On that note, is things like it's a pretty big deal here, and I don't know if it's like that debated, but I've always hated it. Is the false unlimited thing a huge issue where you guys are at all?
Oh, where
unlimited data, unlimited
they
transfer.
say you have an unlimited data cap, but once you hit like 100 gigs, they slow you way down.
Yeah,
to almost unusable speeds. Yeah, that's a huge thing here.
It's like fine print type things. I hate that that's a thing at all. I don't know how that's fair and or legal still. It's still worse.
And I completely agree. That's an unfair practice based on that's more of an FTC thing than an FCC thing here in the States, the Fair Trade Commission, where that's not puffery. That is legitimate deception on the part of the advertisement. Like anyone who tries to make an argument that the unlimited data cap is advertisements when they actually cap you at like 60 and then slow you to unusable speeds is some sort of they might technically be right, but it's confusing for the consumer, which is where the problem lies. If it's confusing for the consumer, then that advertisement is therefore not good, nor is it ethical, and the FTC should get involved.
In reality, it's false advertising.
Yeah,
and it's like
exactly.
it's a lost practice that was done before that shouldn't have carried over to something like the internet. It's just bad.
Yeah, and this is actually now this is where people are gonna like start to point at me and be like, I thought you said you were libertarian-ish, light, little L light diet libertarian.
That was a good voice you did for it too.
Yeah. You're not, like I said, I'm pretty laissez-faire, but this is where, to me, we talk about it a lot of times, municipal internet provided by cities and states would be a great fix to this.
I completely agree. I really do.
I've seen it. We've talked about this before. I'm from an area that I have had municipal internet. Where the local utility company, Cedar Falls Utilities in Cedar Falls, Iowa, provided internet that outcompeted and was cheaper than the private sector. Chattanooga, Tennessee has seen the same success. And this is where that stuff is really good. Because it shows private companies that if they can get outcompeted by a local government, they need to change their practices.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing with Google. Sorry to deviate. That was a huge thing with Google. What did they call their internet service?
Fiber?
Fiber.
Yeah, when they were putting all that in, and it like kind of spearheaded a move for a bunch of different American ISPs to try to catch up and try to compete with them. It just kind of seems like if that had continued, it would have been even better, but it sort of fell off.
Yeah.
Although they did keep a lot of their changes that they made, a lot of different places.
I'm in agreement, though, to be honest. I feel like that's so, because we've even talked about this. We talked about this a tiny bit earlier before the stream even started. And we've talked about this a couple times also. But there's so much monopolizing when it comes to internet companies.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very much. Like, especially in the areas where, like, Danny lives, where I live, because I live in the woods in Northern California. There's, like, maybe two options here. It's just not a thing. And, I don't know. There needs to be some sort of baseline. There really does. Because if I can't just, like, if I'm stuck the original internet connection I had before, and I paid, like, $60-$70 a month easily for it, was, like, 3 megs download. 3. I get like 60 now for like not even that price, for cheaper. But like, because that was my only option, because where I lived, it's like, well, I mean, you could have that or nothing. That's your choice. But
being able
like
to choke people into submission for that is the worst, and it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. There really needs to be some sort of baseline. Just something.
Yeah, and I know South Korea had a lot of those problems with a very monopolized internet industry, an internet service providing industry. And as soon as the officials, the authorities in South Korea broke that up, South Korea ended up getting some of the best internet in the world. Which
aren't they regarded for having the best? I thought they were the highest.
Yeah. Which is very strange considering their neighbors to the north, which just goes to show some striking pros and cons to certain ways of organizing society.
Do you know that they weird jump in? I'll let you get back to it. You know that they appear in like Olympic events and shit like that together? North and South Korea. I had no idea that was a thing that ever happened.
It was very recent that they. Yeah, it's a very recent thing that they did to start doing reunification across the DMZ. But yeah, no. So the problem with monopolization in the United States when it comes to internet service providers is pretty bad, and the fact that I think one of the worst things that could have happened to the internet service providing industry for consumers in this country was the fact that courts blocked municipal governments from going outside of from providing internet outside their municipality. So Cedar Falls, Iowa cannot provide to Waterloo. Chattanooga cannot. Yeah. And I think the decision actually needs to be reversed. I think that needs to be reversed by the courts, that municipalities can offer, as long as it's a contract. As long as it's a contracted agreement between two municipalities or two states, I see no reason why they cannot do that.
How are they even allowed to make that decision? How is that a decision they can make?
I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you what the legal thing is what the legal precedence was to block municipalities from going outside, from providing services outside their jurisdictions. So I'm not sure, but Stupid, you made on with internet service in Canada right now.
Sorry, I lost you for a sec there.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I saw my video connection was taking a plunge. My provider is probably pissed at me for even speaking about this.
We're talking about ISPs. Everybody hide.
Everybody hide.
Sorry, raise charter. Raise my bill.
I'm sorry, Mediacom. Please do not come down upon me.
I should preserve my bill. Damn it.
So, yeah, what's going on? You made mention briefly about internet in Canada. What's going on in Canada?
Okay, so net neutrality is pretty much upheld and still a thing here. I'm gonna come out right out the gate and say that I'm not super well versed in it, but from what I have always known, that net neutrality, I don't know how many laws are actually in place to kind of keep it, but the general consensus is that it is a thing that is alive and kicking here. And just I quickly searched it up just so I didn't sound like an ass when I was talking about it. And I immediately found a site called, I guess I'll just pop it in, I guess, but actopenmedia.org. There's, I guess, some sort of bill being looked at to change that in Canada. I don't know much of what's going on, and I've never even heard of this one time before, and I spent all my time on the internet. And it's very, very odd, but I think this is rather recent.
They always try to be very sneaky.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
The telecom companies are always very sneaky. They very rarely do they really make anything until they absolutely have to in the public discourse.
Yeah, that shit stays quiet.
Which is understandable if you're a company trying to make
if you're a sleazy company trying to make like decisions that aren't good for the general public, it makes sense to not tell the general public.
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense not to let the general public get involved.
Yeah.
What are the major telecom companies there in Canada? Because here we have Time Warner, we have Verizon, T-Mobile, Cox, Comcast, Mediacom, Charter, all these internet service providers that kind of chopped up the country in different ways. What is it like there in Canada? Just out of curiosity.
So it's different per province and city, mainly city. But I think the big guys typically, I searched it up too just to get it, but I was pretty bang on. It's a company called Shaw, Rogers, and Bell.
Okay.
And so I think most major cities only have like 2 options here, but at the end of the day, they're pretty good at holding up actual net neutrality laws. I think there was one big thing with one of Bell's companies a while back. I can't really remember it all that well, but it was something like, God, it's escaping me. I wish I did more research on it. It was like, basically they were throttling a bunch and they got a ton of shit for it. And I think they ended up like walking back a ton of their practices. I think they've reimbursed a ton of people's bills for stuff. And I don't know if it might have been a class action lawsuit now that I think about it, but I don't really know. But yeah, typically the way it's seen is there's not that many options, but the options are pretty good at following their restrictions and like not screwing people over that bad. Yeah. Where I'm at, I have 2 major, and then I think I have a bunch of like really shitty startup ones that aren't there yet, but I think a couple of them are starting to try to get fiber going. And with that, it's fascinating to see. I don't think a single one of those small places have been around longer than a year. And there's a good few of them. So I think it's pretty well known that they're locked down to just the 2.
Yeah.
And I think in most it actually might just be 1, to be honest.
Yeah. So I was actually kind of reminded of a practice, and I'm kind of curious to see if you guys remember this. Like T-Mobile and Sprint and AT&T and Verizon, they were all doing these packages where if you signed up or got a new line or got a new wireless plan with them, that they would give you like a month of Netflix free. I think I saw Sprint doing like, we'll give you a bunch of Pokemon Go stuff for free. Have you guys seen that at all recently?
Not recently, no. But I haven't really kept up with it specifically. I don't know. I feel like a lot of advertising really just isn't like super strong anymore. Just because of the way that the internet works. And I mean, like, I'm gonna be real with you, I have ad blockers out the ass. So I mean,
that's the
it's
other
not
thing.
something I really run into. But I mean,
I don't know if it's that it's not strong. I think it's just it doesn't hit you that much anymore.
that might be it. That possibly. Maybe.
My entire job is to schedule commercials, and I literally do not care about commercials.
They can be pretty bad.
I literally put I tell commercials when to play, and I hear the commercials every day, and it still is just white noise. There's nothing. My brain's like, oh, let me listen to this real quick just to make sure that like I scheduled these correctly. Yeah, my brain just tunes them all out. It's terrible.
I can't think of a single ad that has gotten me to actually buy anything or to do anything.
Yeah.
I can't think of one. Every time I've seen an ad, I'm more think, oh my God, I hate this. Fuck this company. And then I don't think about it ever again.
Yeah, exactly.
There is,
unless it's subliminal.
There is one ad that I hear a lot when I'm listening to podcasts. And I'm not going to say who it is because they got to pay me money. But I'm like, huh.
Got a cash check somehow.
Does that head-on apply directly to the forehead?
Are they around still?
No.
I will say it is something to do with dental hygiene. And anyone that listens to podcasts right now,
yeah, I know who you mean.
Know exactly who I'm talking about now. And I'm just like, I actually kind of want to like try this service out.
Every one of those, I find it so common in like podcast fucking ad companies. So many places are just starting their own either tooth care products or hair products or like shaving or bathing. It's just there'll be one thing for shaving and then the next month after they have toothpaste that you can go get. I wonder how this happens.
I'm making run-branded shaving now. It's happening. It's a thing.
Who was it? Philip DeFranco. Philip DeFranco made his own hair care line. Beautiful Bastards, isn't that what he called it? He's got like a mousse and stuff, beard oil. I'm like,
he's total that shit. It has to make good money for how common it is to do it. Yeah, just to make your own or to even promote it. It has to be such a good industry. And for what it's worth, I should kind of jump in for that a little bit. As a bald guy now, I've given thought to joining one shaving company thing, but I haven't done it because I just am lazy.
So as a recently balded man.
Maybe they'll pay me and I'll be good.
There's a toothbrush company. I'm like, I know exactly, if you guys let me just write my own copy, I know exactly how we'll work this out. Before we evolve too much further, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about in terms of this Cox story? Cox, don't do it. People who are in the Cox area, the markets for this, don't buy into it.
Fast lane, no go.
Yeah,
very bad.
ISPs still suck. Please don't kick me out of my service. That's basically it.
I think that's as much that can go in there. Net neutrality, good. ISP is usually bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can I do a PSA and speak on behalf of you two real quick?
Oh boy, okay.
No matter where you are in the world, if you're in the EU, Canada, the United States, South Korea, no matter where you're at, always look for the policies and pay attention to the policies that directly impact your life. This includes policies such as net neutrality, tax codes, stuff like that. It might be boring, but it matters, and it matters to your wallet. It matters to your financial health. It matters to your rights. Just pay attention to policies.
It's good to stay involved on that shit.
Good to stay involved. I know it is boring, but you're gonna want to. So that's my PSA. Pay attention to the public domain. If you're in Canada, defend net neutrality. If you're in the United States, we have elections coming up again, because we always have elections coming up again.
I never know why. There's so many. I don't know what's happening. I'm so bad with anything political, and there's a new one every couple months, and I don't know what's going on.
In Canada or the States? Because the States.
In the States, that was what I was going for. I know more about American politics than Canadian.
Oh, yeah, it's because American politics are so pervasive in everyone's daily life. It's insane. Basically, anyone who is in the United States, who is outside of the United States and wonders why it feels like we have so many elections, it's because we have major elections every 2 years, and people start campaigning a year and a half before those elections. So you feasibly have 6 months after an election before another major election theoretically starts up. Yeah.
So many.
Well, think about this. The 2016 election had its first official candidate being Ted Cruz, announced February of 2015.
That's for what year?
That was for the 2016 election. The first candidate for the 2016 election was Republican Ted Cruz, who announced his candidacy in February 2015. A solid almost 2 years before the election would even happen.
Oh, well then.
Yeah. So that's why it always feels like there's so many elections in the United States, because our candidates announce almost 2 years prior to the election actually happening.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I think I hear more about elections getting ready to happen, but not actually happening. Maybe I'm just putting the two together.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and that's kind of why, like, it's 2019 right now. The election for 2020 doesn't occur until November, until November at the end of this year. But we have 20 candidates. No, when's the next election? Why am I saying it's November 2019? It's November 2020, right? Yeah, but yeah, we have 20 candidates almost a year ahead of time. 21 candidates if you count the income. Yeah, it's just a very weird, like, how our system works.
Oh man, that's so many.
So yeah, that's ISPs. Like I said, that's my PSA. Pay attention to that stuff. It's important. I know it's boring. I know it causes anxiety for many people, but you have to pay attention. Even if you just have a few things that you focus on, like internet service providing companies and
ISPs and politics, not very fun, but very important to pay attention.
Very important, yeah. Now let's bring back some of our listeners. You two can talk about Halo.
Oh, we're talking about Halo!
Yay!
Oh, praise me! All right. I would say it's good news, but it's horrible news. It's terrible news. It's the worst thing that ever happened in the history of the world. I cried a lot. The Halo Master Chief Collection beta has been delayed, and I'm sad. Yeah. I am soul crushed on that shit.
I think specifically it was the test flights for the Halo Reach multiplayer aspect for PC has been pushed. It was supposed to come out, I think they said just in this month, and it is the 30th, and yesterday they said no. So,
yeah,
not the greatest. It's, kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But I guess if it leads to them ironing out kinks,
I guess.
I want it.
I don't know. I'll be dead honest. I look at it and I'm like, this is a game I have on a fucking Xbox. I can't. It can't be that crazy hard to port over, can it? Like, can't possibly. Like, come on. I know they have to have been working on it for a bit. There was no way they just announced it and we're all like, we're starting it now. It was. They had to have been like, we have it like kind of set up and sort of ready.
I feel like it's gonna be. There's so many different things that make me very unsure of how it's gonna work. I feel like it's pretty quick. Like, I think it's gonna happen soon. There was that thing that one of the companies, Splash Damage, very odd still, whatever, sent out an email where they listed that it was. They said that like all of the Master Chief Collection should be out on PC by the end of 2019, or
Splash
something
Damage
like that.
Said this?
Yeah, because they're working on Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Which is odd. Still odd.
Well, they were working on the Gears of War stuff too, weren't they?
Yeah, they've been doing Microsoft-esque stuff. It's just Halo for them.
Yeah. Instead of working to fix a game that was brilliant.
They went from like, I think it was just like shitty mobile games for Gears, then to actual kind of Gears, and then to Halo. It's a major jump, but apparently they have earned it. So, hey. But yeah, if that whole thing, I want to believe it, but there's no way. Like, there's no way. If the whole thing about it, all of the games being out before 2020 is real, that'd be fantastic. But I can't see any world.
Yeah, that's a little far-fetched.
I don't know. I mean, the way, from what I understand, I don't know if this is I don't know if this is necessarily true, but from what I've heard, it's supposed to be a rolling release, and they're supposed to be doing it from like chronological order, not necessarily like the actual game release date order. So like it's not Halo 1 at the start, it's Reach.
Yeah,
and then I think it's gonna be Halo 1. Yeah. And God, I don't want 4.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I just want just one of them. I just want one of them out sometime soon. I'll be happy. I'll be a happy camper. I could stop playing Siege. I could just go and no life Halo for the rest of my life.
I can stop playing DB. Halo all day. I'm kind of glad that it's Reach first because I don't know why. That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
I think it might just be because of the armor or the abilities minus armor lock.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of the more polished titles. I never played Halo. Yeah, I never played Halo 4 on multiplayer because I played Halo 4 last year when I did like a Halo like streamathon of all the games, and I loathed that game with a fiery passion. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe just how much I hated the game. There was so much rage.
What were those shitty enemies called? They were like Prometheans?
Yeah, they were. I think so. And they actually looked cool. And by looked, I mean like 2 looked cool and the rest looked horrible and then did nothing. And every enemy was about as dumb as like a sack of bricks. And it was atrocious.
They looked pretty bland and they were annoying to fight.
Yeah.
Like the higher difficulties.
Yeah, there was quite literally maybe one enemy that looked super sick. And from my understanding, this is gonna get into a really weird tangent because I did a little bit of research on this. That's right, Danny. How's this D&D talk going? So I did research on this, and to my understanding, the Bungie actually did Bungie do Halo 4?
Or was that was 343.
Okay, yeah. So 343 got essentially like an open check from Microsoft and being like, put as much resources as you possibly can into this game. Make this the best Halo game you've ever seen. And so they didn't consider times, I guess, like a bunch of idiots. And so they went all out on making one specific enemy. Like on one particular enemy. And then Microsoft was like, we need this fucking game now. And it's like... and then the entire game went to shit. And it was just literally one enemy that was even remotely interesting. And
I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, I heard it from, I believe it was from Racevik. He's a YouTuber. I heard it from him, I believe. It was very interesting because it kind of even went into insights about the other games also. And that particular game, it was just like, they're just like, here's a lot of money, do the things. And they're all like, oh, we're gonna do the things. And then they did one thing.
Hang on.
They literally just did one. It's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man.
What do you think is better? Everybody shits on the 343 games, of course, because they're not as good. I think unequivocally. Is 4 worse than 5? Which one's better?
I never played 5. I've never played 5.
No?
No, after 4, I considered playing 5, but after I played 4, I was like, this is probably for the best. I think this franchise is dead to me.
It was okay, and I think that's the only way you can go for 4 and 5. They were both okay.
Yeah, I've heard 5 was solidly okay. I have never once in my life heard a good thing about 4, except for the multiplayer. Apparently that was okay, I guess.
It was okay.
Yeah, apparently that was But never once in my entire life have I ever heard anything good campaign-wise about 4. And after I played it, I was like, I understand why. This sucks. This is trash.
It sucked too, because 5 had such a good thing to it. The 5 campaign and like actual story in it was really good. But then they split it up with a dude that no one cared about in the game.
Actually, so that's kind of an issue I had with 4. And I know Danny is like glossing over right now. And honestly, it's the coolest thing to see that I'm not the one doing it this time.
I just peer over and he's like
it's all good. No, here's the thing. Was before the podcast started, both of you mentioned Halo stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me give Ren the opportunity because to talk about Halo. And I can be the person who glazes over, just like Ren. Whenever I talk about D&D with anybody,
I'm waiting to see.
And here's a sad thing, and Ren has earned this, is I've brought on D&D centric guests.
Oh God!
Yeah. Explicitly D&D, and the entire podcast was D&D, and I'm just sitting here like,
it's Danny and the guest, and you're there.
Yeah, and I'm here.
Oh man, you've earned this. Don't.
So there's actually one particular thing about 4, and I thought it was the most jarring thing, is that you can actually see the random spots where they put a lot of effort into the game, but everything else is horrible. There's like there's a cutscene specifically that's really intense, and honestly, if they had the game based like around that specific cutscene, the game probably would have been phenomenal. Like, it honestly probably would have been a fantastic game. But the gameplay itself was boring, it was tedious, and like most of the cutscenes sucked. But there was occasional, very, very limited storytelling times where it really like, it essentially slapped you in the face, and it's all like, no, you're not the god here. Everything's going to shit. What's wrong with you? And it's like, oh, okay, everything's dying. All right, got it.
It's been a while since I've played it. But
yeah,
that aspect of the actual story in it was really fast. It was cool.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They went into it further for 5, but both the games just weren't that good.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It felt like, it almost felt like fighting hordes for a lot of them, and then dumb bosses that weren't.
Yeah, I honestly I remember only one enemy. To be complete, well, I remember like 2. I remember the stupid dog things, because I was like, how can these be so dumb?
I hate those stupid
and then
dogs.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, how could they have possibly made fake robo dogs look so stupid? And then there was essentially flying drones that looked like they were trying to become flies, but they were like obscenely dumb, and I didn't understand the purpose of it in the slightest, and they made no contextual sense at all. And I was just like, I don't get it. I don't know why you're here. I don't understand. None of this makes sense to me. I just don't get it. They were boring. I couldn't. Yeah, what?
Sorry, it's okay. Was 4? I don't want to spoil or anything like that. Was 4 the one with the main bad thing being 3 of one big thing? Or
I think so. No, 4 was I believe 4 was just like, it was one like stereotypical bad guy that wasn't even interesting, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because you went and it made no sense. It just sort of happened. It literally just sort of happened. So like the main enemy of the entire story is almost meaningless in context. But it's like one random dude. I'm starting to remember this now. The boss fight's a cutscene. That's what the boss fight is. It's not a boss fight, it's a cutscene. It's literally a cutscene. You get to the boss, you get to him, and then it's like, press this button, and then you press the button, and then it's over. And then you beat the boss.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, that's Halo 4. Yeah, it was shit. It was so bad, I don't understand. I don't know where you could even possibly, in any gaming sense, be like, how could we end this game in a good way? What if we had a cutscene where you pressed one button one time? It's not even like a QTE sequence, really. It's like you just pressed a button, and you're like half dead. And then you're like,
they didn't even...
And then that's it. That's it.
Game done. There you go.
Yeah.
Didn't even try to Far Cry it.
No.
Go play the shitty microtransaction stuff. Have fun.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was so bad. I couldn't believe it.
Such a shame.
Yeah. No, in terms of like the best Halo games from my experience, it's definitely tied between Halo 2 and ODST, and then Halo 3, and then Halo 1. Halo 1's good, but it's Halo 1. I don't know. It's good. It's solidly good. ODST is severely underrated, and Halo 2 had an amazing story that people just shit on. It hurt. It hurt my soul.
Story.
A lot of people didn't. A lot of people really hated it because you were playing as an alien, like half the game.
Oh, yeah, okay. I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
I feel like that might have been a thing where the marketing didn't really nail down that you weren't Chief that much. You weren't the main guy that much.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting though, because it added a lot of context to the aliens themselves. Like, it actually gave like a depth to another race entirely, versus it just being like, you're killing the aliens. It's like, but the aliens have this entire thing, and this is the reason why they're doing it, and this and this and this. But they also have a corrupt government, and it's crazy. And that's like the entire reason why shit's going like hitting the fan. And like two
it
of
was
them are
cool as
like, I
hell.
don't fucking know about this. And the other one's just like, shut the fuck up, we're doing this. That's essentially how it goes. That's basically the government plot of Halo 2.
Oh god, I can't wait for that's what I want now. I'm
Yeah.
excited for Reach. 1's gonna be cool. 2 and 3, I just can't wait.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be so good.
That's all I'm excited for. I mean, I'm excited for multiplayer, so that way I can actually no life this game right from the beginning.
Yeah.
But
my game plan is probably gonna be do as much lasso, which is
yes,
hell.
yeah. Oh my
god,
god,
do as much of that as I can.
Yeah, so if people don't know what lasso is, I actually found this out when I was doing the streamathon because I was curious to see if I could do it on an old copy of a Halo 2. Don't ever do it on an old copy of Halo 2. You will hate yourself and everything around you. It's horrible.
All right.
Lasso is legendary all skulls on, and skulls are a modifier. They can be anything from in Halo 2. There's a blind skull, which makes you have no HUD at all. You can't see your gun. You can't see your reticle. You can't see how much health you have. You can't see your radar. You can't see anything. It's all gone.
There's a couple of them that are really like, they're like cosmetically different.
Yeah.
But
so there's
most of the bad ones just...
Yeah. So there's some like Grunt Birthday Party, which is when you kill a particular enemy and you get a headshot, you hear like a little party scream and like confetti pops out of their head. And that's what happens. It's fantastic. But I tried it on Halo 2, and there's some big issues with Halo 2 when it comes like gameplay wise and like difficulty wise. It's one of the stupidest games I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand. Great game, fucking horrible if you ever want to try it in that way. Ever. The snipers are essentially aimbots. Like, you pop up for half a second and you're dead. Literally half a second and you're dead from like 3 different snipers that all have perfect headshot precision. Like, they're gods. I don't understand.
I think the only way to do lasso shit is like following guides. I don't even see how anytime you have to fight anything that snipes, it's over. There's no way.
Yeah.
And like, is it when you play solo, it starts over from the very beginning, right?
Yes. So there's another skull that if you die, there is a checkpoint system. If you die, the checkpoint system's gone. You fucking lose the checkpoint system. That shit's gone. It's out the window. You now start from missions, which is like, oh, you ended up here and you've spent like 40 minutes here. You lose, you're dead. You start over. You lose. It's essentially how it goes.
I died from like an enemy at the end of a mission while I was fucking around. My first time ever doing anything lasso, and I have not played it since, and that was about 6 years ago. Yeah. No,
when I was doing the Halo streamathon, I got to Halo 2, and my thought process was, I'm going to lasso this shit. It's gonna happen. And the way that lassoing in Halo 2 works, because since it's an old title, you can't actually just you can't toggle the skulls on and off like you can in later versions. You have to actually find them while you're playing the game. Like, you have to progressively find them while you're going along with it. And the very first one is it sets all the difficulty of the enemies to the highest difficulty possible. Which is like the worst situation ever. It's the worst. It's so bad. And then the second one is you can't see. You essentially can't see what you're shooting at. You got nothing. You're just lining up the center of your screen and hoping that you're getting headshots. And like, if you need to reload, you're hoping that you know what gun you have on your back. You're hoping that you know how much ammo's in it. You're hoping that you know if you need to reload it or not. There's a lot of different worries there. There's a whole lot of different shit that you got to worry about. I got halfway into the game. It took me like a week and a half of just hardcore grinding that shit. I got like halfway in and I quit because I was like, this there's no way this can be entertaining. It's impossible, dude. I'm dying like 5 feet past my respawn over and over and over again. I haven't even gotten to the fucking like restart the level skull yet. I haven't gotten there yet. And I'm already like struggling super hard, and I'm just like, I don't fucking know about this one, dude. I think I need to drop this.
I think they changed the whole way that works in the anniversary that they did. Okay.
Praise be.
I was gonna say, I don't think it worked that way when I
No, it does not. It does not at all. I have the really old style copy, and it's rough. I cried.
Did you play on console or on PC?
I played on PC. I found a PC disc copy. My computer doesn't have a disc tray, so I had to import the files to a computer that did have a disc tray, then move the files onto a USB to move them back onto my computer.
Oh, old media.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just buy an external disk drive?
Why would I buy an external disk drive if I don't have to?
He had the other one. He could just fucking throw it on there and
all I had to do was put it onto a USB. The way that old files, like Halo 2 files, they're not even, honestly, they're not even like encrypted or anything. You quite literally, the disk has all the files, and you can literally just put them on your computer, and then you can run it from there. And it just acts like it's the game. Nothing changes.
Really,
if anything,
really
it's better.
Anti-piracy type.
If anything, it's significantly better running. Yeah. So yeah, that's the reason why I didn't want to spend like $15 on the disk drive. I genuinely thought about it for a while. I really did. I was like, I don't need one. I'll never use a disc aside from this one moment anyway.
I bought a Blu-ray disc drive for my computer that I have only used once. And I don't know why I have it.
That right there is the reason why I don't want it.
I bought it for that exact thing. I had nothing that I could have ripped the stupid disc on, and I was like, all right, I'll buy it and then I'll use it forever. And then, it's
oh man. But yeah, that's I think I've covered my like quota on that.
For Halo.
Yeah.
Halo is great.
You have glazed my eyes over. Guys, I heard there's no battle royale coming to it.
I don't even care. I didn't want it anyway. Sounds fucking stupid, and I don't understand the point of even mentioning it.
What's the point of even coming out with a new Halo game if you're not going to put battle royale in it?
Yeah, where's my battle royale?
God damn it.
So many people praised when they made that. Every time it's come up, they fucking praised the hell out of it. They're like, yeah, it doesn't have this thing, but it doesn't matter. No one would have cared. They would have just played the normal thing anyway. Also, when is that game that would have, in theory, had it is called Infinite, I think. When's that even supposed to come out? Is it 2020?
I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it was actually supposed to come out this year, but then they're all like, let's do the anniversary collection, like let's do the Master Chief collection, and then that should tie people off for more than enough.
Danny almost got out of Halo. He was close.
He was so close. He's like, free. Oh.
I still can't believe it's going to Steam. That's unbelievable.
That actually is. I feel like that's something that even people that don't like play Halo can respect that. I mean, like it's a Microsoft title. It's not just
Microsoft title.
Exactly. It's like the main Microsoft title that's not just on the Microsoft store. They could have easily limited it right there. Like 100%. Just like, yeah, you gotta buy it on the Windows store. You fucking lose.
I knew it was coming to PC at one point, but I never would have thought Steam.
Yeah.
I'm very glad it is.
I wonder if the reason that they're doing that is because they had such problems with the Gears of War Windows exclusive.
Maybe.
Probably.
That probably is it.
Windows Store is not a good platform.
It really is.
And the UWP system's really bad.
Because just like right off the bat, the whole Gears of War thing, I mean, it being on the Windows Store killed it.
Yeah.
Killed that game. Like there's nobody on multiplayer for for the most recent Gears of War. Like 2 months after release, I want to say, like it was, I mean, just on the store and then dead. That was it for that game. So I'm curious if they're just taking a lesson from that, even though I'm sure Halo would.
They could have put it on fucking Windows XP.
Yeah. I don't think that would have like mattered. I think people definitely would have gotten it.
There's got to be something else in it. I wonder if it's
a very good PR move. Like there's literally no downside, realistically, of just being like, we also put it on Steam, and it's like, congratulations, you made like 10 million people super happy.
my guess is they'll do that on PC, that on Steam, right, and then Infinite goes Windows Store exclusive or some shit like that.
I can see that.
I could definitely see that being like an intro thing.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, we're done. We're done with Halo.
Too much Halo.
Oh man.
Well, no, it's all good because that was the last thing on my list to talk about.
Oh.
Want to do the Fortnite or Epic stuff, maybe?
Well, yeah, we can talk about that stuff.
I don't know how long these go.
So the big thing, I guess, is Epic says it will stop, and this is from Polygon. Michael McWhirter wrote this.
To be exact, it was Tim Sweeney, right?
Yeah.
Who is he a major stakeholder or is he a owner of the company? I don't know what it is.
CEO, owner.
Okay.
He's the big honcho. He's the big dick swinging at Epic Games. Which, by the way, you don't see any of these other CEOs fighting on Twitter with fans like Tim Sweeney. like Sweeney has been doing recently.
Pretty odd to see. You don't see like Gates from a couple years back pop in, flaming people.
The only two people that we see behave in that way on Twitter
The Gearbox
Elon
guy.
Musk and Donald Trump.
No, we've seen the Gearbox guy doing somewhat the same thing ish to a degree recently. I was kind of shocked. I was like, okay, but
whatever. He can. No one's gonna stop him. It's just all right.
Oh man.
But yeah, sorry.
So so Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, said that they will stop their practice of buying up or securing exclusives as soon as Valve / Steam matches Epic's revenue share for developers and publishers. Steam takes 30% cut, while what is Epic
12.
taking? 12%.
It's like 12, yeah.
And to put more info for it, I think it was a tweet in response to somebody complaining about exclusivity deals and shit like that on Twitter.
Yeah.
He made that as a response, and then it got latched onto for an article.
Yeah. Which
there's no, it's a flat out lie.
Yeah. I just don't. Why would you even mention it?
They didn't start a store, so they didn't start a store for the good of the developers.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
if that is like the thing they want to hide behind on that shit, like even if that is like an actual thing that they're just all like, yeah, no, we'll totally do it. You bet your ass they're doing it because they're spending so much on exclusivity in the first place. It's not to make like, oh, let's help out the devs. It's like, oh god, we are losing so much money buying out these fucking exclusivity deals for like 10+ mil. And
I don't know. Are they really losing that much money on them?
They're spending a ton of money on these exclusivity deals, like a lot, a lot.
You also got to think that they're getting a bunch of free games. They're giving out free games.
Yeah, it costs money to do that.
Yeah, I almost want to. I mean, Subnautica was on the Epic Game Store for free. I mean, there's
been a bunch of good games.
Yeah,
I want to say. I even want to say that Gone Home is
yes.
Is the most recent one
at the moment, or Humble or something?
Yeah, I think they had a free thing on that as well. I think Humble had it, and I think Indiegogo had it as well. That one wasn't super exclusive, but it definitely they're throwing around free games all over the place.
Yeah,
and I mean I get it.
Twitch Prime did.
Yeah,
they're doing what Twitch Prime did, which for us is good. For the general people who just want free shit.
Yeah.
It's good for consumers and shit, and it's good for the people they're paying to get free quotations games from.
Yeah, it's just like that can't possibly be that great for revenue. Like, there's no way.
No,
it's more for brand appeal.
Right, exactly. I mean, this is all like
a ton of backing.
This is essentially their PR year. Essentially, is like they're buying exclusivity deals so that way they can get amazing games on their thing, as well as giving away free games. Makes sense, but like that's a lot of money. It's a huge amount of money. Yeah. And like, what happens when one of these like large backers just decides you're spending a fuck ton of money, and we're not seeing nearly as much results as what we want?
I feel like they're the ones wanting those deals almost. What is the company? The Chinese company? Is it
Tencent?
Tencent. Or Tencent, whatever. I feel like they're the ones wanting to get that kind of thing going because it's notable for their branding. If people want to play a lot of big titles, they have to go to this one place that this one company owns a part of at least. I don't know exactly what they own.
They own 40%.
Yeah.
Is it 4? Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh,
they own 40% of the Epic Game Store.
Or
of Epic Games, I'm sorry. Not the store.
They own Activision too, right?
They have stocks in Activision, yeah. Or they have.
They have.
I thought they owned something, whatever.
They own Riot Games.
That's it. Fuck. Yeah. I couldn't pick out which was which.
They develop their own. They own Riot Games. They have major holdings within Ubisoft, Activision, Blizzard, and a couple others. Tencent has a lot of fingers and a lot of pies.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ubisoft, did you see recently that kind of I keep derailing, my bad.
No, you're fine.
Did you see that thing? They were trying to get, I think a hostile takeover was being put into effect from year 2 Ubisoft by a company called, I think it was Vivendi, and I think they just bought out all of their stock in the past couple months. So they saved themselves from that.
Seems good.
And then they got financial involvement from Tencent anyway. So who knows where it could go.
Oh man.
So yeah, back to this Epic Games thing. This just feels like a nana boo boo.
Yeah.
I know what you are, but what am I? Kind of like argument or like
deflecting
response?
And just giving false information and false hope and just trying to make one place look bad. So you're
just a ton of BS. It's really all.
It's empty.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a poor
so
idea.
Empty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody would ever have believed it.
Yeah. No.
So well, it is what it is.
I mean, apparently it's gotten turned into articles, so somebody's got to believe it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're talking about it right now, which
fair point.
Let's real quick. Tim Sweeney, I bet you won't respond. I bet. I think you're Tim Sweeney. I think you're too pussy to respond to us.
I mean, I'll literally put all of the money I have on that. Not happening.
Tim Sweeney. Tim Sweeney, fight me after school.
Don't beat me up, please.
I'm right here.
3 o'clock by the jungle gym. Be there, Tim Sweeney.
Okay.
Guys, I'm doing this for the podcast.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. It'll work out for future and
real smooth.
Exactly.
No one will be the wiser.
Guys, so many people will listen if Tim Sweeney responds.
Oh my god.
Article after article.
Article.
Oh man.
This just in, Tim Sweeney absolutely destroys podcast host on Twitter. Podcast host is too busy scheduling radio commercials to respond.
And then there's the other thing, I guess, for it. Similar kind of, no, not similar vein. I'm dumb. The Fortnite thing, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, a lot of people are angry because of Fortnite updates. Being the siphoning, the health absorption. I haven't played Fortnite in over a year.
Been a long time.
I have no idea what's even going on with that game. It could not hold my attention for the couple times that I tried to play it.
That building, man.
Tilt the towers. Oh man.
So yeah, people are angry about that. Mostly like the big names. Ninja and other Fortnite streamers.
Yeah, a lot of people have ragged on this thing where just instead of diving into the whole thing, you could probably just easily say a thing that was made to make the game a lot more competitive-esque got rolled back because the casual involvement from a lot of different people was diminishing, and people were not happy about that. So when they undid that to cater to the casual audience, the hardcore audience got very upset about that. It was cool seeing the there was like a duo. I guess are they a team? If they're a duo, I guess they're a duo.
Yeah,
a professional duo team, whatever. Like in their victory speech from winning whatever tournament thing, they bashed the game and said they were quitting after the fact. While they got handed their trophy, and the poor announcer guy or the commentator had to just like
It's probably one of those moments. It's kind of like Michael Myers and Kanye West.
Wow, what is this?
Oh wow, this is a deep cut for you guys then. Back during Hurricane Katrina, it was like one of those charity telethons, and this is where Kanye West did his whole George Bush hates black people, and Michael Myers, Canadian comedian, is just. I'm sure that's what the guy felt like. Like,
there's no way. There's no way to get yourself out of the situation. You're locked into a horrible train wreck that you have to just watch.
Oh man.
It's just like live on television or on live stream, and you're just. Oh man, yeah, that seems like it's just kind of like a non. Yeah. So people are going to be angry about it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a patch. Nobody
It's
really
the move
cares.
a move they had
Shit
to make
happens.
for it helps their game.
Yep.
And I could see why the people that play it in such like a competitive mode will be kind of annoyed by that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're a business that needs to keep their cash cow afloat. So
this
had to happen.
Or else they can't afford the exclusivity deals. That's the thing. That's the deal.
Guys, they need to get more V-Bucks through the system.
They're gonna try to get Halo.
Man.
Oh, be so sad. I'd use the Windows Store if that happened.
There'd be some tears. I'm just saying.
Some real tears.
I hate that launcher. It's so bad.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
I think we're good. I think we're fine.
I can't think of a whole lot.
Oh man.
We had our half hour of Halo dishing. So
It's all good. And then we talked about internet service providers and
some
Fortnite.
politics.
So
great.
Light politics. This isn't like deep. What do you think of the 3% tax rate on this particular tax bracket and how it's going to affect middle America over their span of 20 years?
Yeah, don't you ask me about the Cashmere shit again. Damn.
Jesus. I don't even know what the provincial tax is where I am. I have none of this information.
Ren, I really want to know your thoughts
No!
on the geopolitical situation.
It's never gonna happen, Danny.
Ren, do you want to talk about Venezuela right now?
I will actively unlearn all politics just to spite you.
Oh wait, I know the
man.
Venezuela one. We could go all day. It's
Oh
perfect.
god.
All right, so if we have nothing else to talk about,
No, we have nothing else to talk about.
Next week, Venezuela.
Next week after this coup seems to end, we can talk about Venezuela. So before we derail ourselves and lose all of our listeners, let's go on ahead and end this. Stupid, we'll start with you. What's coming up on the channel? Where can people find you? All the good stuff. Plug away.
All right.
All that good stuff.
I'll do the plugs. So yeah, I'm still just doing what I've been doing for a while. I play a bunch of DB or Dirty Bomb, I guess, a game that is very much dying. I'm basically just doing that until Halo comes out, and then Halo, and until I die, I guess. Probably how it's gonna go. And yeah, and that's at twitch.tv/STOOPID_U. I know. I also hate the username. It's okay.
Can you at least change it so it's not all these stupid capitalizations?
No. I'll have my random capitalization. It's perfect. I got that from a friend's gamer tag in junior high. Perfect.
Strat,
I hated that guy.
Oh man.
Congrats. All right, Ryan, what's coming up on your channel and all the fun stuff?
Well, you can find me at twitch.tv/renditions with two Z's because shockingly enough, I'm in the same boat as Stupid. I also hate my name. But I'm going to be playing some Siege. I've been playing Siege for the most part. We're about to start up the new season, which is kind of hype. I'm hoping to get some actual cool characters, and I just got a new one. I might be playing tonight. Maybe. Possibly. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Yeah, that's it. And yeah, there's a new season. I'm excited.
Cool. Coming up on my channel, not a lot. I'm thinking about going back to Enderall and just cheating my way through. Because I am somehow underleveled. I have no idea how I'm going to beat that character or beat this boss that I'm in.
Oh boy.
I've been playing a little bit of Minecraft, new update on the Minecraft. So, a little something. Been playing the Atrino server again. Restarted that. So maybe I'll play some of that later this week. This might be a pretty light week for me. So
one quick. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
One quick thing on your topic of Enderall reminded me. I was going to play that too. I bailed on it. I'm playing a different Skyrim mod on Twitch. I forgot about that.
Nice.
I'm playing Bruma. I don't know if you know what that is.
I do know Bruma. Yeah,
I've
actually
so
tried
far.
it before. It's pretty good.
I'll have to check that out.
So yeah, that's also happening.
Awesome. Otherwise, guys, follow the podcast on Spotify and subscribe on iTunes and all the other places. I forgot to mention, we're also on a new podcast platform that I've been trying out called Swoot. It's kind of a combination of a podcast platform and a social media network.
How do you spell that platform?
SWOOT, Swoot. And I will put out my Swoot link. You guys can follow me on there. It's just the swoot.com/DannyK. But I'll also put that link out there for everyone that's curious about it. It's a really cool platform where we can like suggest shows to your friends and whatever else. So we're also on there. Google Play, we're also on there. One goal that I would really like to hit here. So if you guys haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel. For the podcast, I'd like to get custom URL at some point. I added some new channel art and stuff like that. So yeah, subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, share us with your friends and all the fun stuff. You can also connect with us on Twitter at NTNPod. So yeah, that's all the stuff for the podcast. Anything else, guys? Absolutely anything else before we go?
ISPs suck. Okay, that's all I got.
Yeah, no, nothing for me. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Of course.
Yeah, thank
guys,
you for
go check
here,
out. Yeah, guys, go check out Stupid. All the links will be down below in the description if you're watching or watching the VOD or listening. Other than that, guys, until next week. Goodbye.
Later, guys. Toodles.
Bye.